Shri Krishna. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Vishnu Sahasranamam is one of the most enchanting, devotional and the most abstract topic as well. If you look at it from the devotional standpoint, eka chintanat nashametyadaha, to focus our entire mind, its resourcefulness towards that one aspect of divine or God. Though he can be nameless, because there are no attributes. Now, for somebody that does not have any attributes, to find names becomes difficult. And our rishis are quite experts. To that which is attributeless, they start with the attributelessness as the first attribute to the attributeless. Avyaya, avyakta, that which cannot be defined. So that is Parabrahma Paramatma. But when that Parabrahma Paramatma takes a Leela avatar, and Bhagavan Vishnu of the Trinity has this need, necessity to constantly keep taking different avatars. Why does he have to take constantly different avatars? Because it is his job description. In his job description, on his, what do you call it, resume, whenever in the department of this creation maintenance is required, he is on 1-800 number. That whenever the devotee calls, depending on the intensity of the call, if it is something that can be reached through inspiring somebody who is around, the nearest agent, he sends that agent or inspires them. And sometimes when there is no agency allowed, or sometimes when there is the agents who cannot handle it, he comes down himself. He takes different avatars. And not necessarily he is limited by those 10 avatars that we are taught right since our young age. That it starts from Matsya, ends in Kalki, and presently he is in a non-speaking mode, because he doesn't take avatar between the Buddha avatar to the Kalki avatar. It's a misnomer that he doesn't take avatar. There are umpteen number of avatars if you go through the Bhagavata Mahapurana. So all these different names, they can have multiple angles, multiple perspectives through which we can look at them. Each name directly is speaking about a certain aspect of his avatar. So he has taken that avatar, and each name is speaking about that particular aspect or one aspect of that particular avatar. On a totally different note, it can also suggest that ultimate reality. And when we talk of his avatar, it need not be through someone, through his different presence. Sometimes when we are ready, when we have that amount of tuning and purity to that totality at that moment, he flows through us in that moment, and that ideal environment wherein we become the instrument in his hands is also his avatar only. There are various angles to look at it. So we have been looking through various aspects of Bhagavan Vishnu. To name it as only Vishnu Sahasranamam, if you take away that Vishnu name and put Shiva Sahasranama or Rama Sahasranama or any other Sahasranama, because I have gone through about 18-19 Sahasranamas, and they almost look like plagiarism. Like one has copied the other's attributes. It could not be different. Because essentially what you are speaking is of that Tattva, that Paramatma himself in these different forms. Therefore it cannot be different. Therefore it cannot be anything other than these described names of divinity. In fact, most of us Hindus have been traditionally asked to keep names of our children in such a way that we are constantly reminded of that divine through these different names. We end up putting Chinnu, Minnu, Tinku, Pinku, even though there is a beautiful name. I'm just thinking, if the name is Krishna, in this country the word Krishna becomes Chris. Narayana becomes, have you heard that? Nick. I have heard. Jay Govind becomes Jack. Jay Govind becomes Jack. Some name. But the purpose of having that name is so that we repeat the name of the Lord again and again and again. Tell you about, in this Kali Yuga, you understand Vedanta or not, doesn't matter. Whether you can do your meditation for hours together to try control that mind and intellect and tune it in, doesn't matter. I'm not saying that those methods are not productive. I'm not suggesting that those methods are inadequate. But in certain environments, certain processes are easy. In Kali Yuga, these are difficult processes, but effective processes. If you have not memorized, it doesn't matter. All that matters is have firm faith in that divine. Constantly repeat the name of that Lord and constantly dedicate every single action, nothing less than to that divine alone. Nothing else matters. if we can get that faith. How is our faith? Any small little thing at a physical level, emotional level, intellectual level, at our assets or at our name, fame, whatever, little bit of shaking here and there. I thought there was God. Now my faith is shaking. If at all you had faith in the first place. See, our faith should not be that shaky on a platform. See, when you put a pole into the ground, like you are trying to set up a volleyball court, and you have to put the pole into the ground. You cannot just dig a hole, put the pole, and then fill it up with dirt and then leave. After having put the dirt, you have to have the test of stability. You better do this in this country. Otherwise, you will have liability issues. So, you better shake it and check. So, when you shake it and it shakes, that means the pole that you have put is not firmly grounded. Therefore, what do? You take a lot of rocks, a lot of stones, a lot of hard stuff and stuff it in and then pound it in. So, these little things that shake us up, actually our own personal test. What do you call that? Chemistry, they use that paper. Litmus test. Our own personal litmus test. How deep is my faith? And if reading through all these 1,000 names and understanding the meaning, if that faith is instilled, our life is on track. With that in mind, read through these 1,000 names. With that in mind as a prayer, that may that faith be instilled for good. That come what may, that faith is not shaken. Then the Vishnu Sahasranama or any Sahasranama and its chanting has achieved its purposefulness. Because once that faith is instilled, sooner than later, wherever that God is, He will have to come in front of you. Cannot run away that far. If only one thing that is missing, it is because of our lack of faith. So with that intensity of prayer, that, O Lord, instill that faith in us, let us continue from where we have left. Last time I remember, we had finished understanding, or at least that is what was the hope, till the 217th word, name of the Lord. So the shloka was shloka number 23. Gurur gurutamo dhamaha satya satya parakramaha nimisho nimishasragvi vachaspati rudaradhihi. Now today we will continue with the next set of shlokas or next set of names of the Lord. Repeat after me. Agranir Gramani Shriman, Agrani Gramani Shriman, Nyayo Neta Samiranaha, Samiranaha, Sahasramurdha Vishwatma, Sahasramurdha Vishwatma, Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat, Sahasrapat. We keep waiting for the change in our life, expecting that somebody somewhere should come and bring in the change in our life. And that is how our psychology is. Even though we have our hands and legs, And if you find that it is convenient, you would say, can you get me something? Just because the person is available. Otherwise, you will say, okay, I have to get up now myself and go do things for myself. If you find the second one, you always want to depend upon. But if you want to be the true leader, see, in that moment of enthusiastic environment, the leaders are born. And it is that divine who sparks through their intellect. And what are the qualities of this leader? And all these qualities are the qualities of the Lord Himself. So what are the qualities? So I said the leaders have these qualities, and this is the expression of the Lord. This is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, if we invoke these qualities in our own heart, we don't need to be waiting for somebody else to come and bring the change. We become the change. We become the movement. So what is that inspiring qualities? So he says, Agranihi Gramanihi Shriman Nyayo Neta Samiranaha. Agranihi. Agranihi. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji does not come down from his standard. He says the very purpose of all these scriptural knowledge. Where is Bhagwan Shankaracharya coming here? If you did not forget, we are also referring to the Shankaracharya's Bhashya on the side. It's not just reading through the names, but we are also referring to the Bhashya, or the definitions as defined by or as explained by Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. So his standard always is that every aspect of scriptural study has to lead us nothing less than to self-realization. If it is not leading to that self-evolution, then it is not scripture, then it is not spiritual process. See, spiritual process is to decorate your forehead, as you can see on mine right now. And that is the only limit of it, that every day you decorate your forehead with different designs and call it spirituality. It is not spirituality. And he has already spoken this in his Bhajagovindam very emphatically. He is very curt and blunt in his words there. He says, Kashayambara Bahukruta Veshaha. The Kashaya, this color. Many of them have used this color as a means, Udara Nimittam Bahukruta Veshaha, as a means to their belly. Now the moment you see this color, there is some amount of Shraddha. Gurudev used to say, take my name and you will never go hungry. But if you need mukti, you will have to put your own effort. And that is the value that has been given to this Kashaya. Now many seekers have worn this to make a living out of it. Just because you wear this color, the color does not bring in the change within. That has to be an effort to be put. So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, he does not come down from his standard. And he says, Agranihi, Agranihi, Agram Prakrishtam Padam Nayati, Mumukshun iti Agranihi. That inspiration, Prakrishtam, that inspiration, that which leads, Nayati, Agraniti, Ni Nayati, that which leads, that inspiration which leads, Mumukshun, all the seekers towards that Mukti Pada. Such inspiration within is nothing but that divine taking an avatar in our own heart. Here, if we take in a broader perspective and apply this very principle, Mukti is the goal. You understand and have a vision to reach there. And having the vision is not sufficient. You should start putting effort towards reaching there. Come what may, small obstacles, big challenges, disenchantments, they will all be a part of your life and your unfoldment. In spite of all these things, to carry that light within, to carry that inspiration within, wherein stop not till the goal is reached. Mundaka Shruti says, Uttisthata, Jagrata, Prapyavaran Nibodhata. This is what our Swami Vivekananda, he translated it as, very famous one. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Uttisthata, arise. Because many times when we are in slumber, when we are sleeping, the alarm keeps going on and on and on and on. And what do? Snoozing it again and again and again. Therefore, the sequence of this mantra is very beautiful. It doesn't say Jagrata Uttisthata. It doesn't say wake up and then get up. It says it's difficult to wake up. Understood? So push yourself out of that slumber. First stand up. Even if you are not awake, put the effort to stand up. And once you put the effort to stand up, slowly in that effort to stand up, you will awaken yourself. Jagrata. And once awakened, once kindled with that fire, stop not, sit not, waste not a single moment in life until you have reached that goal. Constantly work at it. Have you ever observed a colony of ants? Man, what a busy life they lead. You think you and I live busy lives? For the size that they are and the amount of work that they turn over. Wow. When I'm in gardening, I see a train of ants. Amused by that train, you try to put a little blade of grass or a stick in that train. There is an instant chaos on both ends because their path is blocked. Do you think they are going to stop? They'll run around, you constantly scout, and they will not stop until they find a new route. From that colony, as the ants spread out in search of food, and after observing them, when I googled, I found that it can lift about 8 or 10 times more than its own weight, which in a human being's terms, if I am 180 pounds, 10 times, I can't even imagine. I can't lift probably my own weight. I can lift myself, I have to. Equivalent to my own weight, I probably cannot. And for their little size, any distance doesn't matter. Such consistent application until they reach back to their colony. There may be a barricade, there may be rain, there may be water, there may be people walking. What a consistency in their effort. You say size doesn't matter. Look at even at that size, what an accomplished life it is. Until it reaches, it will not stop. Even if its food it falls, it will pick it up again and start going in that direction. And for us, a little headache, I don't think I can. A little hunger, I don't think I can. A little demotivated statement by somebody passing by who does not even have anything to do with your life. I feel hurt. Are you? My husband did not praise me. My wife did not recognize me. Our children don't see the worth of our effort, therefore feel demotivated. First of all, to have that clarity itself, that this is the very purpose. Mumukshun prakrishtam padam nayati. To have that goal, to have that vision, to reach to that ultimate. And then work one step at a time, but work confidently and consistently, without slipping back to the old habits of our own slumber. Classic case, when we were studying physics and mathematics in my 11th and 12th grade, there was this classic case of a frog trying to jump out of the well. That it jumps 4 feet and falls back 1 feet or 1.5 feet, and if the pole is this long and the frog is putting a tireless effort, in how many days will it take for that frog to jump out of the well? At least the frog has a hope. Why ours? Like we take 4 feet up and slip 6 feet down. Because we lack that consistency. And then we are like, we have heard these stories, right, since we were young. The story of the hare and the tortoise. How many of you have not heard it? Every one of you has heard that story? Sudden enthusiasm. That you jump and start doing certain activity, and before the battery is already dead. So let me recoup, let me take rest, let me take a break, otherwise I will burn. And that is also a overstated word, to be burnt out. Whereas the tortoise cannot run, but whatever step that it takes firm step in that direction. That inspiration which should be constantly burning. How do you bring that inspiration? That's the next question, right? To have that inspiration is to have that Lord in your heart. True. How do you find that inspiration? Definitely you cannot find it in Walmart, because it is not made in China. It is custom made. Anything custom made cannot be made in China. So where do you build this? How do you build this inspiration? There are certain prescribed methods. First method, nothing better than sitting in front of that Lord and praying unto that Lord intensely, that Lord, give me that wisdom. See, that is what is the difference between Arjuna and the rest of us. In the first chapter, he is shown as profusely crying. Vishidantam idam vachaha. That Arjuna was constantly crying. Not that it was his usual habit. Arjuna, if you read through the entire Mahabharata, you will not find him as a cranky person who loses heart and feels disenchanted and starts crying. But that was an overwhelming situation. When he couldn't handle it, he just buckled under that entire environment and he collapsed. And he was crying in front of the Lord. The only difference between his cry and our cry is that we cry in front of the world, but he cried in front of the Lord. That is why his Vishada becomes a yoga, whereas our Vishada becomes a roga. Blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. Doctor ji, help me. What else can be added in the list? Peptic ulcers, ulcers in general. What else? Psychosis, okay, added in. I mean, all these things are our own self-generated patterns of diseases. Why? We cannot handle our own Vishada. Turn this mind towards the Lord and pray intensely that, O Lord, give me this wisdom. Second prayer. Lord, give me that one person who makes sure that I get this wisdom and walks me through this path. To find that one person who is experienced, has that wisdom, and part with that wisdom until I reach to you. To have that personalized guru in our life. Third part of the prayer. O Lord, let me have every day satsanga. There are different definitions of satsanga, Baba. What we are having is also called satsanga. When you get frustrated with your children, scream at them, that is also called satsanga, though the child may not agree with it. Because in Tulsi Ramayana, there is this beautiful episode in Sundar Kanda, wherein Hanumanji is travelling from Rameshwara to Lanka in Jet Hanuman Airlines. As he lands into Lanka, there is this guard Lankini. She stops him. If she had just stopped him, he would have brushed it aside and still found a way to get inside. But then as she stops him, as a self-righteous lady there, she says, no thieves are allowed. This irritates Hanumanji to no end. If you say that your job is to stop all thieves entering into Lanka, then lady, you have not done your responsibility well. And he gives her what Lankini later claims as satsanga. He gives one whack to her directly, smack into her face. Diyo ek satsanga. And she gets knocked out. First round, first bout, first knock, and she is out. And then reeling, she gets up and says, Hanumanji, thank you. Now I have gotten clarity. Thank you for the satsanga, she says. She understood why she was given that satsanga. See, if her job was to stop any thief entering into Lanka, was Ravana not the biggest thief? And to start with, he stole Lanka. He stole Pushpak Vimana. All the ladies that he had as his Rani, they were all stolen. Now his latest obsession, which was Sita ji, was also stolen. So now, me entering into Lanka, you call me a thief, and the biggest thief you keep protecting? And this is what we do with our ahankara. With the self-righteous badge on our shoulder, we keep picking on the world, saying that, they are bad, they are not good, they are not worth it, they are not this, they are not that, as if you are perfect. And that which is being protected in that attitude of self-righteousness is the ego, the ahankara, the biggest thief. So, O Lord, provide me that Guru, not some Guru, that Sadguru, who understands me inside out and, does not spare a rod to hit directly on this ego. So that with that constant satsanga, this fire of inspiration is constantly lit. See, one little word and so much of meaning behind that. Agranihi. To find that inspiration. When we find that inspiration, it is that Lord Himself seated in our own heart. Agranihi. And once that inspiration is lit, then do what? Gramanihi. Gramanihi. Bhutagramasya netritvat gramanihi. Recently we conducted this YEP course. While during the course, as a part of their training, they said, you be the faculty conducting the camp as well. So many of them were like resisting it. I hardly know anything, I've just learnt it, I don't know if I'll be doing justice to this job of reaching out to these many people. And I'm not that older than them, I don't know if I'll be accepted or not. Various apprehensions. I said, nothing doing, you will be the faculty. And after the entire camp was done, when we had the debrief about the camp, one of the impressions was that to constantly keep learning and think that I have understood is at one level. When that knowledge is taken and you try to reach out and help others teach the same knowledge, your understanding is tested thoroughly. I tell you, Gurudev's vision in creating this kind of a mission environment is awesome. He picks people, trains them, assigns them different centers of educational excellence, mission centers. Go teach. And once you start teaching, it tests your entire potentiality of your clarity. See, even in teaching, if you are moving from one town to the other constantly, you can get away with teaching the same subject, same content again and again and again. Did I ever share about Einstein's experience with his driver? So Albert Einstein, he He had proposed his theory of relativity, and he was going through various universities in US. So as he was traveling, he was given one chauffeur, and the chauffeur's job was to drive him and stand during his lectures, give him his protection, custody and everything, and then bring him back safely in that car. After listening to about 40-50 lectures in 40-50 universities, the same lecture, same 1.5 to 2 hours of lecture, half an hour of questions, the entire pattern of his theory of relativity, he had now memorized it, the driver. A smart one at that. So he one day said to Einstein, what you teach, I don't understand. You keep saying the same thing again and again, so many times that I have heard, I have already learnt it. What difference does it make if you speak or I speak? So Einstein said, let's make an experiment. This time, the university that I am going, they don't know me. This is before he became famous. They don't know me. So we will change our roles. I'll drive you there, and they receive you, and since you say that you claim that you already know it, so you deliver the lecture. And Einstein was surprised that flawlessly 1.5 hours, whatever he had actually prepared, the chauffeur had already delivered it. Now came the difficult part of the question answers. The driver had not prepared for the question answer session. That is where your actual clarity gets tested. So someone professor there, he said, dear sir, you have proposed this, but then I see this flaw in your theory. And this chauffeur very confident, he said, you don't even understand this much? My chauffeur will explain it to you. Come on the stage, explain it. He had the presence of mind. See, when you keep jumping from one town to the other, you can keep repeating the same stuff again and again. Where you are constantly dealing with the same audience, you cannot fool them. So you will have to dive deeper into your own clarity. So it is not good enough if you are trying to get the clarity. Try to put it across to the ones who will benefit from this and lead them in the same path. It benefits twice. It benefits you and benefits everybody around. Therefore, the Vedic mantra says that Atmano mokshaya, jagat hitaya cha. How should your effort be? That you should aim for your moksha. While aiming for your moksha, whatever be that effort, it should benefit the society at large. Lead them towards that higher purpose in life. So, agranihi, with that inspiration within, to turn the mind within, and in that effort of turning within, inspire those who are around you to lead a life of highest value-based life. Agranihi, gramanihi. Grama, wherein all these people, all the assembled environment, you lead them to a higher purpose. See, there are two kinds of people who lead. Those who lead people into disastrous environment. Can you take one example? Shishupala,